expensive means it is not that costly, but of course it's a time consuming because you have to do manipulation with your plasmid. Not all kind of cells can be treated by this method. Okay, particularly I told you that your affinity towards your monocot is slightly less when compared to the dicotyledons plant. So all type of plants cannot be treated by this method. Sometimes it leads to false positive result. So these are some of the advantages and disadvantages of agrobacterium mediated transfer. But still, you see that when we compare the advantages and disadvantages, you see the brighter side of the advantages are more when we compare to the disadvantages. So, in last few classes, you all studied about agrobacterium mediated gene transfer crop improvement. And I also told this is a biological method of gene transfer as you're using microorganism, that is Agrobacterium tumefacius. Your soil microorganism is used, it acts vector to bring about transformation in your plant of interest. So in this class, we shall look into the physical and chemical means of gene transfer. Your physical and chemical gene transfer techniques do not use any vectors. So coming to the definition, as we all know, transferring the gene of interest into the host organism, or the host organism is also called as a recipient organism. That is, if I want to transfer a gene from one plant into another plant, that another plant will become your host organism, or it is also called as a recipient organism. Once it is being transferred, this host organism is called as a transgenic organism. It can be your plant or your animal, but not microbes. Because in microbes, we don't use the word transgenic. We use another word called as recombinant. Okay, so this you have to remember. We use the transgenic particularly for plant and animal, and for microorganisms, when we are speaking about certain modification of microorganism, it is actually called as recombinant microorganism. So what do you mean by this transgenesis? So transgenesis is a process of transferring, it is transferring and expressing a gene in a non-native cell. It can be your plant or it can be even the animal. So you are transferring your gene of interest. Not only you're transferring, it should be expressed in that non-native plant. That is known as transgenesis. Apart from this, it can also involve removal of native gene. So I have a plant. Okay, we are not going to speak about animal because particularly we are interested in the agricultural biotechnology. So if I have a plant and if it is having a gene, I can remove this gene by using these techniques. Okay, so it involves the removal of the native gene from an organism, resulting in the knockout organism. I can remove of that gene from that plant, and then it is called as knockout organisms. Or the exchange of one gene with another gene of known function, resulting in knock-in organism. That is, if there is two organisms, okay, I can exchange the gene between these two organisms. I can swap the gene between these two organisms, and that process is called as knock-in organism. So whatever we are telling, the ultimate message is we are transferring the gene of interest into our host plant. Either we may remove that gene or we can add a new gene or we can swap the gene also. So that process is called as transgenesis. Now, whenever we are telling that I am transferring the gene of interest into another plant, it is not as easy as the sentences. Okay, so look at this picture. This is a complete insert. Till now we are just telling transgene, that is what your gene of interest. Whenever you're transferring your gene of interest, it carries this complete insert. What is that? Along with inserted DNA sequence or your gene of interest, okay, it is here, the blue one. Along with it, it should carry a promoter sequence. This is here. What is the function of the promoter? It is to see that there is a correct expression of the gene, this point. Just transferring my gene of interest is not valuable. It has to be expressed in that plant. And who's bringing about this expression? It is your promoter. And we have a termination sequence here to signal and tell it is the end of the gene. And as you all know, we have a marker, a selectable marker gene to identify my transformed cells or tissue. Wherever I have introduced my gene of interest, did the gene go into that plant? How will I know? I will use a selectable marker. So this is a complete insert which is required to bring about the transformation in the plant or in the animal or even in your microbes. So the first technique what we are going to talk is the physical method. So this instrument is called as biolistic. Okay, not written the name of the instrument. It is called as biolistic. This biolistic, it will appear like a gun. Okay, look at the mechanism of this, how it appears, the physical mechanism. Here it has a gas accelerator tube. There is a ruptured disc, macro carrier, stopping screen. So this is how it is made of. I'll tell you, when I explain in detail, you will know that. So this biolistic, also it is called as a gene gun. So it uses a low pressure helium gases here. Okay. Why is that gas present? It helps us to sweep your micro carriers to the target plant. What I mean to tell is, listen now. In biolistic gene transfer method, here the foreign DNA containing the gene to be transferred is coated onto a surface with a minute gold or tungsten particle. Okay, this is my DNA of interest to which I wanted to transfer into another plant. Okay, and these are the DNA of some other plant, that is my gene of interest. So first what they'll do in this method is, the DNA is coated with some particles. Which particles they coat? They usually use a gold particle or a tungsten particle to coat the DNA of your interest. So this minute gold or tungsten particles, these are only 1 to 3 micrometers in size, very small in size. Okay, only 1 to 3 micrometers in size, these gold particles which are carrying your DNA. And then they are bombarded into your target tissue or the cells using a particle gun. This particle gun is or biolistic gun. It is a gene gun, or it is also called as a shotgun, or it is also called as a microprojectile gun. So it has so much terminology. I shall repeat it again. This biolistic, okay, it is also called as gene gun, or it is called as a shotgun, SHOT, shotgun, or it is called as a gene gun, or it is called as biolistic, or it is called as micro projectile, micro, okay, projectile. So these are so much terminology it has. So what is the function of this micro projectile? Since your gold or tungsten particles are extremely small in size, that is, we told it is only 1 to 3 micrometers, okay? For this reason, they are called as micro carriers, because these are very small in size. These are called as micro carriers. In order to carry these through the gene gun, bigger particles called as macro carriers, which are also called as bullet, are used. So what did I tell? This is my DNA. My DNA, I mean the DNA of interest, it is coated with gold or tungstens. It is only of 1 to 3 micrometer. So it is called as micro carrier. And then what will I do? I have to put it inside this gene gun, or your biolistic, or your micro particle projectors. Okay. But since it is very small, what we use is we use another particle called as macro carriers. These macro carriers, what they do is they help the micro carriers to get injected, to get shot into your plant. See, here we have kept a plant of interest. Okay. So through this gene gun, the bigger particles called as macro carriers, which are also called as bullets, are used. The macro carriers carrying your DNA coated micro carriers are loaded onto the gun. That is your gene gun. And then they are fired, or they are shot at the recipient plant. During this blasting or shooting, some cells are destroyed. Some of the plant cells are destroyed. But many cells receive the DNA from the micro carriers. In fact, the biolistic method of gene transfer is very efficient in producing large number of transformed cells and has been widely used to create transgenic plants. So this is the one of the best methods which are being used in the modern biotechnological field. The same thing what I told you. Look at this in detail. This is the DNA, that is the gene of interest, what you are interested in this. So I want to transfer this gene of interest to one of my plant. This is my plant. To this plant I want to transfer. So what did I do? I isolated the gene, then I coated this DNA. Okay, with what? With either gold or with a tungsten, I coated. And they are very small in size, I told. They are only 1 to 3 micrometers. So these are called as micro carriers. So this cannot be used in a gene gun to shoot, because since they are very small. Therefore, there are what are called as macro carriers. Okay. These macro carriers, what they do is they carry your microparticles or your micro carriers, and then they are used to shoot to your target plant. See, they are fired to your plant of interest. Now, when they are firing, only your microparticles carrying your DNA will attack the plant. The macro carriers will not enter because there is a stopping screen. Here, the pore size is so small, it will allow only the micro carriers to enter, but not a macrocarriers. That is what there is a stopping screen. So you shoot it. Okay, that is what I told you in the beginning. Gene gun uses a low pressure helium pulse to sweep your microcarriers. Your microcarriers are carried by your macrocarrier. And then what happens? When you shoot it, it will target your plant of interest here. So whenever you are shooting to your plant of interest, many of your plant can be destroyed because of the shot or what you have fired. But maximum number of the plant will receive the microcarriers, which are your DNA. Then what you do is you take these plants and grow them in the plant tissue culture. Develop them into a whole plant. You now know that this is called as a transgenic plant because this is carrying your gene of interest. So this is your transgenic plant. Once you know that this plant is carrying all the best trait, for example, we wanted an herbicide plant, okay, which can tolerate the herbicide. So this plant's DNA is able to withstand the herbicide. So we are transferring that gene into this plant. So it is called as transgenic plant. Now, if I find that this plant is carrying the transgenic, it is able to tolerate the herbicide, then my outcome result is positive. I can go in for the commercialization. So this is the physical method. We are just using the gene gun. This has a helium. You load the gun with your microcarriers and your macrocarriers, and because of the pressure, you shoot it. Okay, your particles will enter. That is, your DNA coated microcarriers will enter into your plant. Maybe not into all the plants, but at least majority of your plants. So this is one of the, I told you, it is one of the best techniques which have been used. Okay. Now what they do is, see, these are all crop plant which are growing in the field. Now using this gun technology, that is your biolistic gun technology, no need of doing anything in the laboratory. They just take the gun and shoot it through the plant. Very simple. So the gene gun is used to shoot the DNA coated particles directly into the meristematic tissue of the living plant that are growing in the experimental field, converting them into transgenic plants. So you see how easy the method has become. You just put your gene of interest into this gene gun, shoot them to whichever plant you want. It is all your experimental plant. Many of the plant will take up the gene, and once you find that the transgenic has happened, it has occurred, propagate that plant. So this is the physical method. In no way we have used any vector, nothing here. Next is the chemical gene transfer method. Chemical gene transfer method is particularly used in the protoplast culture when you studied about tissue culture. So what do you mean by protoplast? Protoplasts are spherical, naked plant cells. How are they produced? They are produced by removing the cell wall. Okay, so I have a cell wall and my protoplast. You degrade your cell wall. What are you left with? You are left only with protoplast. How will you degrade your cell wall? I will degrade my cell wall using the digestive enzyme or even by mechanical procedures. So the intact protoplast, what you are getting, okay, they initiate the process of regeneration of new cell wall immediately after the cell wall degrading enzymes are removed. So I have removed the cell walls. Okay, you have to perform the experiment immediately after you have removed the cell walls. Otherwise, what happens is immediately your protoplast, okay, it will start to build a new cell wall around it. Soon as you remove your degrading enzyme, it will start to build a new cell wall. That is why you have to immediately after you have removed the cell wall, you have to conduct the experiment. So the intact protoplast initiates the process of regeneration of new cell wall immediately after the cell wall degrading enzymes are removed, and within a few days the cell wall is regenerated. Hence, the protoplast fusion experiment must be carried out immediately after the isolation of the protoplast. So, since it is a chemical method, what are the chemicals we can use to bring about protoplast fusion or transferring my gene of interest into the protoplast? The most commonly used chemicals are polyethylene glycol. See, this is the polyethylene glycol. So, the polyethylene glycol mediated gene transfer is most commonly used chemical protoplast fusion. It brings about the fusion of your protoplast. Fusion means what? When there are two protoplasts, okay, you can fuse them. How you're fusing? I'm fusing by chemical method. And what is the chemical I'm using? I'm using polyethylene glycol because that is one of the best chemical which can bring about the protoplast fusion. So herein what we do is, in this experiment, the DNA molecules, okay, look at this. This is the DNA molecule can be forced to enter into the host genome only in those cells which do not possess the cell wall. What I mean to tell is, in this process, what happens, if there was a cell wall here, your DNA will not be able to enter into it easily. But if I remove the cell wall, I will be left only with the protoplast. So my DNA of interest can easily enter into it. So the naked plant protoplasts are mixed with a molecule of linearized plasmid DNA, which is your foreign gene. The two are mixed in a transformation rich media containing magnesium ions and calcium ions, following which 20% of polyethylene glycol solution is added. After the treatment, the PEG concentration is reduced and your calcium concentration is enhanced. This promotes the frequency of transformation. I shall explain again. This is a chemical means of transferring your foreign gene into your protoplast. So your the terminology protoplast means that when you remove the cell walls. The cell walls are removed by enzymatic degradation or by mechanical methods. So once the cell wall is removed, it is called as the protoplast. If I want to transfer my gene of interest into this protoplast, I should use certain chemicals. And what are those chemicals is the magnesium and the calcium. After you have mixed your protoplast with all these ingredients, then you add your polyethylene glycol. So what happens is, it creates a pore so that your linear DNA can enter, or your linear plasmid can enter into this protoplast. So what they do is, initially, after adding your magnesium and calcium, they add the PEG. Afterwards, what they'll do is, they'll decrease the concentration of PEG and increase the concentration of calcium. By doing this, your linear DNA plasmid can easily enter into your protoplasm because your calcium concentration is enhanced. Okay, it makes the process more simple for the linear DNA to enter into your protoplast. So why are we using PEG? The PEG solution, what it does is, look at in this experiment. Here, see the cell wall is removed first. Okay, and then what did you get? You got your protoplast. Then you are fusing the protoplast. This is from one plant, this is from another plant. I want to fuse these two plant genome. Okay, so I removed the cell wall. Then I got the protoplast. And then I want to fuse the protoplast. So what is the chemical I'm using? It is the same chemicals, these all chemicals I'm using. But we told that PEG is most important. Why is PEG is most important means, why polyethylene glycol is important means, this solution induces a tight adhesion of protoplast. Okay, it brings the two protoplasts very close to each other. Okay, they are adhered to each other. Why they are adhered to each other means because of electrostatic force. So the presence of such as your calcium, magnesium in the PEG solution enhances the adhesion. It brings that both the protoplasts are tightly bound to each other. These chemicals see to it, as they form a molecular bridge between the negatively polarized PEG, okay, and the protein membrane of your protoplast. Also, you will see to this, your PEG, what it does is, the water is withdrawn from the protoplast by the PEG, thus reducing the turgidity. What do you mean by turgidity? Turgidity means your cell is swollen. So turgidity means, see, your protoplast will be always like this, swollen because of the fluid which is present. Now what we are doing is, we don't want it to be swollen. Okay, so we want to bring the turgidity down. That is why we use the PEG. Hopefully you understood. Polyethylene glycol is a chemical agent which is used to fuse two different protoplasts along with your magnesium and calcium. How they do means, they bring the two protoplasts close to each other. That is, the two protoplasts will adhere to each other very closely, and also it will remove the turgidity. That is, the protoplast is no more having the fluid, no more it is swollen, and then it can bring about recombination because of the formation of the bridge between these two different protoplasts. Then you develop the cell wall, and then you can regenerate this plant. So this is an example of protoplast fusion. Two protoplasts you're taking and you're fusing. This is an example that you have one protoplast to which directly I'm adding or I'm integrating my linear DNA. Whatever may be the method, I am using the chemicals, particularly the polyethylene glycol. This is the experiment, the same thing. What year it was? This is in the another method. See, there are two different protoplasts. We added the chemical, so they fuse, and then you can see that the nucleus of those two protoplasts will fuse and we'll get a somatic hybrid or hybrids. Now, the chemical methods involving transformation in the presence of polyethylene glycol is a convenient and simple method. But however, even these have some disadvantages. Many cells are sensitive to the chemical method. Okay, so once you apply the chemicals, since the protoplast or the plant are sensitive, they die during the treatment. Or many treated cells do not contain any transfer gene. You have treated them, but they have not carried your foreign gene into them. Sometimes the foreign DNA is degraded in the cytoplasm before it reaches the nucleus. So these are the drawbacks. So in a physical method, we saw that when we are shooting, some of the cells are destroyed. Okay. So in chemical method, what is happening? Your cells may be, some of the cells may be sensitive to the chemicals, whatever the chemicals you're using, and they may die. Or what may happen, many treated cells do not carry any transfer DNA at all. Okay, though you're doing this procedure, nothing is entering into this. The experiment will be a failure. Or sometimes the foreign DNA will get degraded in the cytoplasm itself before they reach the nucleus. So these are some of the drawbacks. So the last one, we shall speak about electroporation. So electroporation, as the name implies, involves generation of pores using electric current. Electroporation, as the name implies, it involves the generation of pores, okay, or holes using an electric current. When pulses of high voltage electric current is applied to your plant cells, it results in a transistent pore or holes. Transistent pores or holes means that is a temporary hole is being created. So how we do this experiment is by using this pulse power supply. Okay, it has a lid, it has a cuvette, and the electrodes are there. You put all your plant cell into this cuvette and supply the electric supply power. Then what happens is, because of this electric supply, there appears a small hole will happen. That hole is not a permanent hole. It is a temporary hole. Okay. So a high voltage electricity is applied to the plant cell. Transistent pores or holes are formed on the surface of the plant. If the plant cell is placed in a medium containing DNA, please look at this picture now. Okay. If the plant cell is placed in the medium containing the DNA or your gene of interest, it can be transferred, this your gene of interest, through the spore, it can be transferred into your plant cell, or even not only plant cell, even the protoplast can be used. So the plant cell, if placed in the medium containing the DNA to be transformed, the DNA enters into the cell through these pores into the cytoplasm and subsequently into the nucleus, thus successfully transferring the DNA to a whole plant or to the protoplast. This is, so you saw that this is a very simple technique. The last technique wherein we use is the micro injection technique. This is also a physical technique. Okay, please remember, these are all physical techniques, except for this is a chemical technique, what we use, PEG. So this is the electroporation technique. And now the last one, what you're going to see is the micro injection technique. So in micro injection, in this technique, the DNA is drawn. Look at this. The DNA is drawn into the micro injection. Okay, the DNA is drawn into a very specialized nano syringe, or even it is called as femto syringe. So small they are, the syringe hole. It is called femto, or it is also called as nano syringe. It is the, what happens is the entire procedure, what you're going to do, it should be done under the aid of microscope. So in fact, the whole procedure is carried out viewing through the high definition microscope cell. The cells to be transformed is held in a position using a nanoscale suction pipette. This is your nanoscale suction pipette. You see that this pipette is holding your protoplast, which is having the nucleus. So you are viewing under the microscope and doing all this procedure. Okay. So the nanoscale suction pipette will hold the DNA, and it is carefully, now this syringe is carefully induced into your protoplast. That is what is this picture is. So this syringe is carrying the DNA or the genetically, what we are saying, the GNA of your interest. Okay, the gene of interest, this syringe is carrying, and through your microscope you're holding your protoplast through the suction, or sometimes this protoplast can be adhered even to the agar media. Then slowly through the microscope you can inject your syringe into the protoplast, because you are using a very high definition microscope. So directly you can inject your gene of interest into the nucleus itself, and this nucleus will get transformed. That is, it is integrated with the foreign DNA. So this is another method wherein we use the micro injection, and here you don't require even the markers. Okay, molecular markers are not necessary, because you are knowing, because you're looking into your microscope, this entire picture what you're seeing, no, you are viewing through the microscope, and then you can see that because you are seeing and injecting the DNA into the nucleus, and then that can get integrated. So there is no question of marker being used. So these are the some of the important techniques. So apart from agrobacterium, we can use physical techniques like the gene gun method, or we can use chemical techniques to bring about the transfer in the plant or in the protoplast by using polyethylene glycol. That is, one method is you can directly induce your plasmid DNA. Otherwise, I can fuse two different protoplasts by using the chemicals. Another physical method is electroporation, wherein I can make a hole, temporary transit pore in my cell, and then I can add my gene of interest into it. Or I can use even the micro injection technique, wherein I'm using a high definition microscope. I hold my protoplast in a suction and then induce my DNA of interest using the syringe.